Well, welcome once again here to another edition of the Chris Brecht State Farm Insurance Coaches Show right here on 1360 WOW. And with me, of course, Coach Rocco Dobran. Coach, a whole year has gone by. How'd that happen?
I don't know. It went quick, though.
It sure does. Sure does. Before you know it, the 4th of July festival's there, then D-Day, and boom, we're ready for football.
That's pretty much how quick it went, too.
Yeah. There's a few of us been keeping an eye on this whole thing for a long time and getting really excited about the season.
Yeah, I think everyone's getting excited. It's football time, and whatever level you watch, it's that time where everyone's starting to throw all the football talk out there. So
they certainly are. And in case listeners don't know, there's been a realignment again. Last year, of course, we were in Region 4 over in the PIAA. We're still playing our perennial traditional games over here against these powerhouses, La Brea and Grand Valley. But we're playing now in Region 3 of the PIAA and not Region 4. But we're still playing some Erie County teams in Seneca, Iroquois, and Northwestern. So we look for that to be a nice rivalry, too.
Yeah, it'll be fun. These kids, they're going to come out and play no matter what. Playing new teams actually keeps them more focused because they don't look ahead to, how good is this team or how good is that team. They can kind of just worry about themselves. Let's get ourselves as good as we can be since they don't know the other teams that well.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's an excellent point. And they did that last year. And then if you concentrate on what you're doing, things will fall together, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, they've been well coached. We were interested in that, too, because this is really an amazing schedule that we have coming up this year.
Absolutely. It's changed. There's 8 new games. But I think it's going to go well for us, I hope. But like I said, not knowing those teams, we're going to take one day at a time at practice, get better, a little bit better each day, and then hopefully Friday nights come out how we want them to. So absolutely.
And we, of course, we remember from following some of them, or I do, from being over in Pennsylvania, that Iroquois, of course, got a lot of their players back, and they were a playoff team last year. Of course, over there in PA, a lot of teams make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Also, Seneca, too, they got a lot of their players back, too, as well, and they were a fairly tough team on top of it. Northwestern, you never could count them out, but I see between all of them in Region 3, Connie was selected to come out on top for the season.
Yeah, that's how it fell. They do those preseason polls. I'm not really sure, who picks them. Sometimes they get
you
input,
voted? You were one vote?
Yeah, I get a vote.
Right.
I try to leave us out of it because I don't know how to.
Okay,
it's always weird voting for yourself, but I don't know if they want that or not. But I just kind of leave ourselves out of it and put my 2 cents in. But it's when I've never seen those teams play other than maybe on a cross film for scouting and last year.
Right.
So you never I don't know how they're gonna realign or what their team's like in the new year. So that stuff doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it's good to have that kind of respect.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting just to see how the coaches feel. And it looked like, if I looked at it on there, that Seneca probably feels confident in themselves. Iroquois obviously does too, and you do as well. Northwestern was the only team that opted to vote for someone else, and it looked like they voted for you.
Yeah,
I don't know how that came down, but it looks.
I know. Well, and I think Northwestern really, if you look at the end of last year, that's one thing I noticed about them is they struggled early, but they really came together toward the end of last year. And I know their coach last year was his first year, and he came from Cathedral Prep, I believe, as an assistant there. So,
right.
I think they're going to be pretty solid this year, even though out of those teams they had the worst record last year.
Right.
So, and I know Seneca's got a new coach, new system, and they had some kids transfer out too. Prep. So, we'll see how that goes.
Okay. And then, of course, the big change this year is that we're going into Region 3 down south. And it kind of fits into what we've been doing for a long time over here, playing in what I kind of refer to occasionally as the state line region, which isn't really part of any league or anything, but it's really where we are.
Right.
We go down to play La Brea, we go down to play Grand Valley, and we go across the line. We're going to play Wilmington and Sharpsville and some of those teams like that. Wilmington has been one of those teams in all the years I was over in PA in the PIAA. We never could figure out what they were doing, but they always have a team.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the coach, Varelli or whatever his name was, 40-year coach.
Yeah.
Winningest coach, too, I think.
Right. And they just got a new coach this year, but it's another coach that's been on their staff for the last 15 or 20 years. So I'm sure it's going to be the same. They probably won't miss too much of a stride and just keep rolling. But that's everything I've been hearing is they're going to be a really good team. And Sharpsville's done fairly well too in the past couple of years. So
yes, they have.
I know they got a D1 lineman, I believe. Sharpsville does.
I did see. And then, of course, another team I wanted to talk to you about, too, was they were thrown in here. I think they're a Region 5 team, so it's one that if we are successful against them, we get some more points. But that would be Cash, or they call themselves Conneaut.
Right.
So it'll be Conneaut versus Conneaut. It's got all the makings of a great rivalry.
That's right. So that should be an interesting game, too. And then, like I said, it's an out-of-region game, but because, for the PA schools, it's another one that's not not too far away, about 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
You got 2 Conneaut schools playing each other, you know,
Right.
and, you know, it's just a name, but it'll be fun for the kids, you know, because I'm sure there'll be some good headlines for that.
And, of course, they were the team that combined Conneaut Valley, Conneaut Lake, and Linesville schools all together.
Yes.
And when they first came together, they were a dynamo. I think they're the last team over there outside of the metro, McDowell and those guys, to
Right.
beat Cathedral Prep.
Right.
And
yes.
that's, you know, of course, that ain't going to happen nowadays, I don't think.
Right,
But
no.
it happened then. But is there anything there that they maybe weren't happy about with the realignment concerning us? I mean, is there the beginnings of an inside squabble for a rivalry?
Yeah, they put us in the lower tier when they first made their change. They put us with Grove City and Sharon and some of those schools down south. And then when we weren't sure why they would put us in the southern tier instead of along Route 90 there.
Right.
We kind of questioned, but we also said their number for our students, we actually fell in the lower category because we lost our biggest class. So when we redid the numbers, our numbers fell in 3A instead, or 2A, 2A instead of 3A. Which put us in Region 3. So they did, because of us, they changed the whole way that they did things because they didn't used to do the crossover games with the southern teams in District 10 and the northern teams. So I think some of the Pennsylvania schools probably weren't happy that because of an Ohio school, they realigned everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of control over that other than just saying, here's our number, you know, so we should probably be
Right.
one level lower because that's the amount of kids we are. And they went by that, but by doing that, they realigned everything even a second time.
Okay.
After the first initial, because you get so many days to argue or say why you shouldn't be where you were placed. And usually I think teams argue and nothing happens.
Yeah, so PIAA did it, but we were the catalyst that caused it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, well, that'll happen, I guess.
That'll happen.
Anyway, we'll see how that develops throughout the year, too, if anybody else has any feelings or thoughts on that. But either way, we're looking to set up some rivalries maybe and build this whole thing up because this could really be a standout year for the Spartans.
We're hoping so. We like time and see how it happens. It should be definitely interesting, and I think the kids are excited, and we'll at least get a two-year run at it and see.
Right.
They might realign again, so who knows?
It's just that tough teams. I know it doesn't come down to strength of schedule or anything like that, but Sharpsville last year was 4-4, and they went on to the playoffs.
Right, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about camp, how that went this year.
Our football camp this summer, we usually go to Hiram, and this year we decided to stay home. And when the kids slept in the high school, and it was a good bonding though. They were a little worried at first, but they actually loved it. And for a 3-day camp in the off season here, and then our downtown coaches club fed us, and then we called some teams in, some PA teams like Fort LaBeouf, and then some Ohio teams like Paynesville and Jefferson. And we played some 7-on-7s and that kind of thing. And then once we got into 2-a-days, we just kind of kept rolling. And, it was actually a good 2-a-days as far as weather went. It was kind of cool. It wasn't too hot until the last couple of days here. So
I'd say they moved Fort LaBeouf all the way up now, playing McLean and McDowell and Meadville and all those guys. So
yeah, they moved them up. So
it's a tough adjustment for them.
Absolutely.
How about the practices you've had? You're gearing up for week 1.
Oh, it's been going great. These kids work hard every day. It's a good group. We have some great key seniors, and they kind of mind their own business and do their own thing. And then we get a lot of leadership from our juniors. And our juniors class is our biggest class. I think it's 14 kids. And a lot of them, I think 7 of them started as sophomores last year. So those kids all got taller and put on 20 to 40 pounds and, look a little bit bigger. So that's a good thing for us. And they all got a little faster. So.
Oh, that's great.
And then, you get a couple sophomores and freshmen. They get their little playing time in there. So.
Yeah. You've done it before. Of course, the big question they were wondering this year is you lost a lot of linemen from last year graduating. You had to put it back together again. And have you been able to reestablish that around Johnny Appleby?
Absolutely, and that's basically the key to it. We get Johnny Appleby back, and he's been a great leader for that core group of linemen. He's a very smart kid. He's probably our best returning lineman from last year. So we lost everybody else, but just having him lead those other young kids, I'm sure there's going to be some early on games where we go through some growing pains with inexperience. We actually just had our center freshman Nick Osborne break his leg last night, so that's not a good thing. But depth wise, but the kid put in some great effort as a freshman just to be ready to play. So he's going to stay strong though and stick with us on the sidelines. So we're down to we got 5 linemen that know what we're doing and maybe 1 or 2 extra that we could throw in there. Like I said, they're young. But so far in these scrimmages, they've really held their own and have done a good job. It's just more just the experience of knowing what to do that sometimes they mess up on. But they're very tough. Coach Lips has done a good job of getting them ready because he knows they're young. So he's been pretty tough on them, making sure that, hey, you got to be ready to go week one. So.
Right. That had to have been your one area of concern. You've got to be pretty confident everywhere else, don't you?
Absolutely. We returned Mikey Williams at tailback and almost nearly a 1,500-yard rusher. Brandon's back at quarterback as a junior, and just that 1 year of experience is a huge deal. And he gained a lot of weight from last year. He's a little thicker kid and can really sling it. Rylan Davison again plays everywhere, and he grew like 5 inches and gained like 30 pounds.
We won't recognize some of these guys. Will
Oh no, I mean, it's a whole new crew. Aiden Thomas. We still got Pinkerton, who is a third-year starter, corner. Yop's a starter in the middle. Richie Picart's back this year with us. We got Moneypenny back from 2 years ago.
Oh,
he
good.
took a break last year, and he was an all-county player as a sophomore, and he's back as a senior. Hunter Dale's doing a great job defensive end.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. We got a lot back. And then, like you said, the only spot that we're kind of inexperienced was that offensive line. Even the defensive line, we got some experience back. So that offensive line is young. Damon Bowers played some last year at the end of the year, and then not necessarily a starter, but the next guy in. And this year, he's really taken it. You wouldn't know that he didn't start last year if you watch him play. And Logan Johnson's kind of in that same category. Those guys are really solid, and they're just trying to do what they can to get those other guys, the Jacob Wileys and the sophomores, and like I said, the freshmen that just got hurt, Nick, just getting them guys ready. But I think they're going to be pretty solid, even though they're inexperienced.
And you're listening to the Chris Brecht State Farm Insurance Coach Show. Remember to bundle your insurance coverage and save and call Chris Brecht at 593-1191. Chris Brecht State Farm, here to help life go right. And if we can wrap up the Coach Show, it's a little bit longer version because it's kind of the beginning of the season. We wanted to cover overall the whole thing put together. But LeBray tonight, big game, played him well last year. And how do you feel going into this? They're always a perennial playoff team too.
Absolutely. They're a great team. They got everybody back. So it's going to be a matter of trying to stop some of their skill. I know they have a Division I prospect at receiver and a tight end that were juniors last year. Their quarterback was a junior. So they got a couple of those kids back. And like I said, though, I think we're a lot more athletic this year also. It's a matter of, we might not stop them completely, but if we can contain those guys a little bit, I think it should be a great matchup. I think it should be a great game. And probably, ultimately, like any other game, when you have two good teams, it's going to come down to, who turns the ball over less is probably going to come out on top, so focusing on carrying the ball, holding on to it, and then trying to cause turnovers on the defensive side.
Coach, wish you the best of luck tonight, and we're going to be right here enjoying this game all the way through. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
Good to be back on track here for the Coaches Show. This has been a season-starting Coaches Show from Chris Brecht State Farm Insurance on 1360 WOW.